Can you see it now?
No, not yet. Now.
No?
Yes, now. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you very much to spend some time today with us today on this cloudy morning in Spain. Well, in the part of Spain where I'm in now at this moment. Okay, so let's start. Oops. Oh, okay. So today's session will be structured in 3 blocks, basically. On the first one, I will introduce the principles of open science, giving you a very quick overview. On the second part, the most interesting section elements of this second block is that I will explain to you the different obligations in a question and answer format that is very much appreciated in the consortiums we participate in, because there are some particulars sometimes on the mandate, on the open access mandate specifically, which generates some confusion. And finally, I will recommend you 3 tools for that will help you in implementing the open science principles in your European projects. Basically, we talk about Zenodo, Open Research Europe, and the use of preprints repositories with a very practical approach. Okay, so you can start right ahead considering some particulars that are not evident at the beginning, even for some advanced users, I'd say. So Estela has already presented me. If you have more curiosity, you can see some details here on my academic background and my professional journey, which has been always related to information management, research, and results valorization in different organizations. And well, about KNEIA, we develop service as a communication agency, but specifically to clients who are highlighting their scientific and technological rigor is their main asset, their main brand asset. We provide also support on valorization of results, and also training and support on methodological support and activities related with open science. So let's start. For today, you can find many definitions of open science, but for today's session, I've selected this one published by the European Commission in 2018 on a recommendation about preservation of scientific information. In this definition, they state that open science refers to a new approach on scientific process based on cooperative work, new ways of disseminating knowledge, improving accessibility to and reusability of research outputs, using technologies and collaboration tools, collaborative tools. As I said, you can find many definitions in the literature. Is quite a new concept, quite a new expression, but is a quite older concept, in fact. But in any case, in all cases, you will find 3 basic elements that define what open science is. The first one is collaboration. Okay, open science helps to remove geographical and institutional barriers to foster the collaboration amongst researchers, where they can easily contribute and share resources, data, publications, which allows to foster a more inclusive and diverse scientific community. Open science practices are specifically very interesting for, very beneficial for interdisciplinary research. The second concept, which is in the base of open science, is openness. Refers to the rapid transfer of knowledge, which allows to avoid the application and accelerates the dissemination of new discoveries. This also facilitates the development of new educational resources, which makes science technically available for anyone, and also, and this is very interesting, contributes to scientific literacy in society. And finally, the transparency. Open science allows to verify results, as it permits to make secondary analysis and use the data for new research questions. Basically ensuring that we can replicate the experiments allows us to validate the research and strengthens the credibility of the scientific findings, and of course helps to prevent fraud. This scheme, I wanted to include it because this scheme published by a Finnish ministry in a handbook about open science in 2014 represents the whole the whole value chain of the research process, and you can find specific suggestions on that might help you in implementing open science principles. I would have liked to prepare this session based on this scheme, but with only 1 hour, which at the end will be less because we have to leave room for questions and answers, it was not possible. But at some day, I will prepare it this way and to make it more extensive and really, really practical from each stage point of view. So to finish this introduction to open science, I will point out the main practices related to open science that the researchers should be familiar with. Again, open science include much more things, much more aspects, okay? But these are specifically practices that you must know and get familiar with. The first one, the most mature, is naturally open access. It's a free and unrestricted online availability of scientific information. You will be familiar with it basically with related to publications, to scientific publications. But it's not necessarily exclusively related to publications, I mean duplication of results. Respect of open access, I just want to remind you, there are two concepts. One is a green root, which refers to the self-archiving of the articles, of the publications, by the authors themselves on online repositories. And the gold root, which refers to publishing the work on an open access journal where the author pay a fee for making this publication open access. The fee that the author pays is called APCs, article processing charges. And another final concept, which will appear later, is hybrid journals. Okay, there are journals where they publish articles either in open access, so anybody can access them freely, but also publish articles that can be read only under subscription. These type of journals are called hybrid. Okay, the way how the author makes the article be freely available, open access, is paying the APC I just described. The second practice is open data. Refers to make freely available to anyone to use, reuse, and redistribute with minimal or no restrictions the research data. It's a fundamental principle in open science and is the key for promoting transparency. in some disciplines, the tradition of sharing data is very normalized and is very old, frankly. For example, particle physics or genetics or meteorology are disciplines where the um, where opening the data has been happening for many times. The third um, the third practice is proponents publishing, which consists on uploading a manuscript, which is not a manuscript, to dedicate a repository peer review and formal publication. The first repositories were available more or less during the last decades of the 20th century, which this is the 90s, 2000s, okay? The purpose was to share the research activity um, prior formal publication to foster collaboration, basically to refine the work, to find address potential issues, improve the quality of the research, okay? Then we have the open peer review. This is a more transparent approach to the traditional peer review process. In this case, is characterized by the openness and visibility of different aspects of the peer review. The traditional one is typically anonymous and confidential. In the open peer review, we enhance transparency and accountability, also engagement in the evaluation of scientific research. The name of the authors and the reviewers are public, but also the reviews and the potential answers, if they are any, okay? Is worth consider that the open peer review allow the reviewers to give reference to their review activities, which are typically not compensated, okay, and have an enormous value. The next one is the citizen science, which is a cloudly concept, but basically involves the public, the citizenship in scientific research, allowing individuals who may not have formal scientific training to contribute to various stages of the scientific process. This allows broadening the scope and impact and the impact of the research. This can be applied to every stage of the research process, and you can can typically classify citizen science activities under concepts of co-design, co-creation, and co-assessment within the research process value chain. And finally, the research evaluation metrics. Sometimes they are referred as alt metrics, alternative metrics. Those are indicators used to measure the impact and visibility of research beyond traditional journal citation-based metrics, okay, like the journal impact factor. Is the less known activity in open science, but many important initiatives are stimulating these alternative metrics. And I have to say that the rise of predatory journals finally will deliver the final blow to the journal impact factor system. This phenomenon of predatory journals has highlighted painfully how the assessment system can be cheated when it's based on journal impact factors, okay, for detriment of researchers. So with this, we finish our introduction to open science. So now I'm going to check the time to see how we go. Oh, I go later than I expected, yes. Okay, so we will go into the second block, Open Science on Horizon Europe. And just a very quick history. The European Commission started implementing open science practices in the 7th framework program, which ran from 2007 until 2013, with, you will probably remember, a pilot for open access, which you could voluntarily subscribe to. Okay, it was related to giving access to open access scientific peer-reviewed publications. Then in Horizon 2020, open access to scientific reviewed publications got mandatory, and you could either choose both gold and green open access. Is the case of Preserve Project, okay, which is an Horizon 2020 project. But in Horizon 2020, the open science requirements were extended. And now, for example, in Horizon Europe, you only can get the APCs funded if the journal where you have published is full open access and not hybrid. Here you can see I've just included the references of the legal texts, the reference of the articles in the grant agreement, which refers to open science practices, okay? Obligations, basically, just as a reference. Both in Horizon 2020, because Preserve is Horizon 2020, and Horizon Europe, which is the main topic of this session today. Here you have the legal text for Horizon Europe. Respect the first article, which is about open access to scientific publications. And what I'm going to do now is translate this to you in human question and answers based format. Okay, so these are the questions that I typically get on the consortiums. The first one, no, I have to publish peer review articles. Yes, the European Commission expects you to do so. You have probably committed it in your proposal. But must be published in open access journals. Yes, you are obliged to publish your peer-reviewed articles. If you publish them, you have to publish them in open access journals. You might choose to publish them on hybrid journals, paying the APCs, but the APCs wouldn't be eligible. Okay. But if you don't want to either pay an APC, you can use Open Research Europe, which will be discussed later, okay, in some detail. How I can be sure that my selected journal is fully open access and not hybrid? I recommend you this tool, the Journal Checker, okay? We haven't found, we use it a lot. We haven't found any error so far, but remember, I'm a librarian. So I will recommend you always to check on the primary source, okay? Go into the journal itself and make sure that the policy has not changed, okay? I have to say they are pretty well updated on this tool. Here you can see a very basically the website, the homepage of this tool is very easy to include. You just need to include the journal. You don't even need to include your funder or your institution, just including data about the journal to get it identified, SSN, title, you can find it. And you can get one of two indications, okay? The first the text in the middle shows the information that you will get about this journal if it is full open access. But if it is hybrid, you will find something similar to what you see on the right part of the screen, which is a mention that you need to get alternative funds to the APC because it's hybrid. And as I said, Horizon Europe does not find APCs for hybrid journals, okay? A typical question that I get, does the European Commission care about impact factor? Not at all, okay? Probably your organization, if you work in universities, they care about it. No, if you work in a university, but the European Commission does not care about it. In fact, they are fostering new metrics. If you are not sure about it and you need to document it, there is a place in Open Research Europe page that they explicitly, as you see, they defend other other quality assessment metrics. Okay. The next question is it enough that I publish the peer-reviewed article on a fully open access journal to accomplish with the open access mandate in Horizon Europe? The answer is no. The open access mandate says that if you publish a peer-reviewed article, you have to publish in open access journal, but also you have to deposit it in an open access research repository. Okay. At the latest, at the moment of publication of the article. I recommend Zenodo, and I will talk about Zenodo later, and I will tell you how to use it in the context of European projects. What if I must deposit the article, the published article in my institution open access repository due to my organization policies? No problem, go ahead. You can publish, you can upload it on your repository, but you can also additionally uploaded it in Zenodo, which I recommend because it will make it easier for you to group the project articles or the consortium, the project articles. But also because when you upload it on Zenodo, the article reference gets automatically uploaded on Sigma, okay, where you have to report your articles, okay? Later, I will tell you a detail which make you understand that at the end we will all be obliged to upload them on Zenodo. Okay, you will see it later. Do I have to license my article? Yes, it's mandatory in the open access mandate. You have to use a license CC BY or equivalent if it is an article. If there are chapters of books or other long text formats, they are called. You can use by non-commercial or by non-derivative. For those of you who are not familiar with licenses, well, licenses could be a whole session, training session, okay? I will just give you a very quick reminder of what are the Creative Commons licenses, the most used Creative Commons licenses, with an indication of which are the ones that are required by the open access mandate. The CC BY, which is the default, is the most open, okay? Basically, you are giving permission to anybody to redistribute it, modify it, edit it, as long as they mention your authorship and the original work, okay? The licenses that can be used for longer text formats are the CC BY non-derivative, which allows redistribution but not modification of it. And of course, the original author must be mentioned. And the second one is non-commercial, which allows to modify it, okay, and redistribute as, and obviously mentioning the author as long as there is no commercial activity attached to it, okay? The next question is, okay, but how do I license my article? I know which licenses I'm obliged to use, but how I do it in practical terms? Okay, I will make it really easy for you. You have two options, the shortcut. You just paste exactly this in your article. I mean, the image of the type of license and the text, which includes the link to the legal license text, or B, which is the hardcore one, as I call it. You can go and visit the Creative Commons license chooser, which will guide you to the process to select the license. But I personally don't find it very nice, very user-friendly. I'm sorry to say that. So that's why I offer you this shortcut. Must I include metadata on the article uploaded in scientific repository? Like Zenodo, as you know, metadata are fields where you described the work, okay? Author, title, date of publication, journal where it was published, and so on, okay? Keywords. Well, the open access mandate is very specific about the metadata that you have to include in the scientific repository where you upload your work, okay, your peer-reviewed publications, okay? So you have to include licensing terms, the DOIs or persistent identifiers, the authors, the grant, okay? And the open access mandate establishes that this metadata must be licensed Creative Commons 0 or equivalent. You haven't seen this in the scheme that I put before because I used them, I included the most used. You have to say that CC0 is corresponds to public domain, to works which you put in public domain. Anybody can do whatever they want with it. Okay. Now the question is, okay, but how I make the metadata licensed public domain, CC0, how I practically put the license? Okay, you don't have to worry about it. As long as you use a scientific repository that licenses the metadata CC0 or equivalent, public domain, the good news is that Zenodo does, okay? And I've included the link where you can effectively check that this is it. Now, this is the second part of the obligations of related to open access in Horizon Europe. This is referred to research data management. And again, I'm going to translate it. The typical question is, okay, must I deposit all the data I generate in my research in the form of data sets in an open access repository? The quick answer is no. You can choose the data sets that you want to publish open access, but remember that the European Commission expects you to follow this principle as open as possible, as close as necessary, okay? Do I have to specify in the data management plan which data sets will be accessible in open access repository? Yes, all the data sets should be described there, either if you are going to upload them in an open access repository or not. You will have to include the DOI, the digital object identifier, on the data management plan to make possible to access the data sets. And for every data sets that you don't publish open access, you have to justify it. You have to say in the data management plan why you did not put it in open access. And there are only a set of acceptable reasons. And the European Commission is going to get tough on that in the future. Basically, you have three reasons you can argue. The first one is that the disclosure of this data might jeopardize the exploitation interests of the members of the consortium or the intellectual property protection of the results. Okay. The second one, the second reason is there are data protection constraints related to sensitive and or personal data related to general data protection. And the final one is related to security aspects of projects, for projects dealing with strategic assets or security or different interests of the European Union. In such case, you will know your project is of this type, is not common. Should I publish data sets related to an article if I publish in a peer-reviewed scientific journal? Yes. And if not, you have to justify it. Can I use Zenodo as open access repository for data sets? Of course. And if these data sets are related with an article, you can link those data sets with the article. Do I have to license the data sets? Yes, again, with Creative Commons by, which is the widest, and or even, which is the widest before or after public domain. This is 0, okay? So here you have a very graphic view, general view of what I have just well, of the main articles, okay, of the main obligations related with open science. Basically, what we quickly call the open access mandate in Horizon Europe specifically. For period publications, as you saw, they establish obligation on deposit the publication, on licensing the publication, and on using specific types, specific fields on metadata, and respect the research data. You have obligation on preservation the research data, and preserve the research data. You have a recommendation on making it open access, and you have the obligation of licensing. I miss an N here. Licensing this research data if it gets open access, okay? So, oops, I'm having problems with the mouse. Okay, so what if I tell you that with Zenodo, you can easily accomplish all these obligations, and for published, peer-reviewed, the European Commission has set up a platform which is very, very useful, okay, that I will describe it now. So this way we arrive to the final section, which are the tools for implementing the open science principles in your Horizon, your projects. I will start with Zenodo very quickly, okay? Zenodo is part of the OpenID project. The OpenID is basically a set of initiatives which were funded by the European Commission along different projects that took place for several years, which, by the way, I've included the link to OpenID platform. OpenID project is something really big here, and I really recommend you to explore OpenID. Okay, you have a lot of tools and a lot of repositories that can be very useful in your research activities. Okay, so what you need to know about Zenodo is you have the official site, okay? You have the URL here in the left part of the screen, but you have also a testing site of Zenodo, which is very useful to learn how to use it, okay? Oh, I typically make training courses of Zenodo, getting into this testing site to show in real time how to use it. So using Zenodo is really quick. If you don't even need to to um, to log in. Sorry, I'm moving something. To say you don't need even need to register or log in to search articles. We just go there and you can directly start searching articles. The search functionality is quite potent. I have included here a reference of the help page for searching, and I have included the most typical options for advanced search. Okay, we will not make a live try now because we don't have time. And you have also the opportunity to search for communities. Why? Because, okay, you can create communities which are groups under you can group different articles, okay? You can create your own communities, but Zenodo also create themselves communities to group different types of different articles which have something in common. You must know that there is a specific community, which is this one, the Open Repository for EU-funded research, which is in pilot phase, okay? Basically, all the articles related to results from European projects are being grouped in this pilot phase, in this pilot community, which will be fully operational during autumn of this year. You can expect that at the end, all the articles should be here, okay? Basically, you don't have to put your articles in this community. If you use Zenodo, Zenodo directly put your articles in this community. So creating a new article in Zenodo, I mean uploading your peer-reviewed articles in Zenodo to accomplish with the second part of the open access mandate. Okay, I mean you have published a peer-reviewed article, and now you have to upload it in an open access repository, scientific open access repository, as the open access mandate establishes. If you choose Zenodo, you log in. It's very easy to register. It's completely free also. And then you just have to go to new upload with the plus sign on the right. What I'm going to tell you now is, first of all, the mandatory fields to be able to publish a record are not so much, okay? You have to at least upload one file, the article. You have to include a digital object identifier. This is an URL, a unique URL, which will be able to, which will be used to search to find your article unequivocally. Okay, you can either put the digital object identifier given by the journal, or if you don't have it or it doesn't exist yet, you can get one. You have to describe the type of recourse, you have to include the title, you have to include the author or authors, which are called creators in Zenodo, and the publication date of the article, okay? But if what you are uploading is a journal article, because you can upload many times of files, please include these other fields so Sigma can easily upload this publication, okay? So you won't have to include it manually. And something important, if in order to make sure that you accomplish with the open access mandate in Zenodo, this is the reminder, okay? Of course, you upload it, okay, the preview article, and the rest, say options 2 and 3. Option 2 refers to all the obligations related to metadata. Okay, so if you fulfill these fields, you can be sure that you are accomplishing with the obligations related to metadata. You have to indicate the license, and you must make sure that you select public on the visibility option. Okay, warnings. Remember that when you publish an article, you must publish it with a license CC BY or equivalent, okay? And you have to show it in Zenodo when you upload it. And respect visibility. If you must choose restricted on the visibility option and select apply an embargo, you failed, okay? It's not compliant with the open access mandate. Not embargo options can be accepted in European projects with respect to journals because it's against the open access mandate. So what happens with my mouse? Okay, now, so here you have an example of article that from Zenodo is an actual article where you can see how it looks like when you have included all the metadata and you have really uploaded it, accomplishing with all the obligations of the open access mandate. Okay, you can see that it is available. You describe the type of document. You include the title, the creators, the publication itself. There is the DOI. You see in the right part of the screen. I'm sorry, I can't see. Okay. You can see the license. Then any tool required for validating the conclusions is also referred in the article, and the funding data. Okay. So I'm struggling with the mouse. I don't know why. Okay. So this is all about Zenodo. We don't have much time. About Open Research Europe. This is a platform set up by the European Commission, which allows you to publish peer-reviewed to publish peer-reviewed scientific contributions for projects from Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe, and Euratom. Okay, so basically works as a journal, but it's not a journal. You submit your article there, and it gets peer reviewed. It's free for authors. It's free for authors, but it's not free because it's the European Commission who is paying for making it who is paying the APCs. Okay, basically because there is a lot of work behind, and of course this requires um, funds. Okay, but these funds are provided by the European Commission directly. Okay, and this is totally transparent to you. It follows a continuous publication schedule, so you can send your articles at any time. Is fully compliant with the open access mandate and the open science principles in Horizon. And currently, you can only send articles in English. Okay, here you have the URL. Hmm? Why the European Commission has set up this tool? Because the European Commission wants to foster the early sharing of research and overcome the limitations on publication types that typically scientific journals impose. In fact, one of the most interesting things of Open Research Europe is that you can upload many different types of documents, okay, to get peer reviewed, which is something classical journals don't allow to, okay? Includes software peer review. The peer review that you will get is open peer review. It will be public. You will know who the reviewers are. You will the comments will be public. Okay, your answers will be public. And also the European Commission with this platform pretends to boost a new generation of metrics for research quality beyond the journal impact factor. Okay, and also to promote a cost effectiveness principles for scientific publication, because the APCs have raised a level which is totally absurd. Researchers have to pay fees for making open access their articles, which are out in the stratosphere. It make no sense at all. Okay, so basically how it works, you submit your article, and when and in terms of indexing, okay, one very interesting thing about this tool is that once the article has passed the peer review, it gets indexed in many platforms, okay, in many relevant scientific platforms. You have here a list of them, but some of them, but you have the complete list on the link that I put below. Additionally, the article will be sent directly to Zenodo, so you don't have to upload it yourself, okay? Basically, how it works, you submit the article. It's really, really easy, okay? The staff makes some pre-publication checks. You can see, you can read there all the details of these checks. Once the checks have been passed, it is automatically published, okay? And it gets the status pending review. And then the preview starts, okay? And then you can you can see at any time what is the status, if the reviewers have put their reviews there, or and then typically it gets into an iterative process where you answer the comments, or you upload a second version of the article, taking advantage of the comments, okay? Finally, as I said, when it gets accepted with at least 2 approvals, it gets automatically indexed and sent to other repositories, so you get a lot of visibility, okay? Here I've included the details of the approval status. Basically, approved with reservations, or not approved. But obviously, you will have the opportunity to improve your article, so it will be peer-reviewed again. And here you have an example, very quick example. You can see in the right part of the screen that for a published article, you can see the different versions of the article and the different review reports, okay? You can click on each report and see that report. You can see also the answers from the author or authors, if there are any, okay? You can consult independently every one of the revisions of the article. And I want to raise your attention on, in this lower part of the screen, you see that you have three parts. The part of the article where you can read it, details on the authors, and there's a third section about metrics. And I want to show to you the type of metrics that are included. You can see here the reach, which is based on the views and downloads in the Open Research Europe and in Zenodo, okay? Also the cumulative view and the sessions by country in this map. And below you have reference of the citations, okay? In this case, the Scopus, Europe PMC, and dimensions. Also other metrics related with social media, for example, if they have been referred in social media, and also if they have been saved in citation softwares, for example, in this case, Medley, okay, which all of you already know. So, and finally, very quickly, preprints repositories, okay? You know, preprint is, as I said, the manuscript submitted to a repository prior to peer review and the publication, okay? Allows you to share your research fastest and defend your authorship, because you get a DOI, so everybody knows this is a work of yours. It allows you to get feedback from the scientific community and raise more impact, because you make it more quickly available to the researchers, okay? So just a curiosity, Nature, many time ago, in 2019, published a very interesting article about a study that demonstrated that preprints publication boosts the article citations and mentions. So this is something maybe you would like to check. And basically, I recommend you to use preprints repositories for boosting collaboration with other European projects, okay? What is called clustering activities. When we try to stimulate clustering activities, the researchers typically raise different type of concerns. The first one is confidentiality concerns. They don't feel so comfortable to sharing insights of their research within the project with other researchers from other broader projects. They are concerned about sharing information and preserve their authorship. And also, they are not willing sometimes to meet with other researchers from other projects, because sometimes it's difficult to engage other researchers to share work, okay? But the preprints repositories can help you on that. How to overcome these difficulties? First, because, okay, respects confidentiality. Before you will upload a preprint, you will have to pass the prior consent procedure as the grant agreement establishes. So you have no doubts about what is safe to share, because what you will share is a document that has passed the prior consent. So you can publish it and then contact another project, say, hey, we are brother projects, we have published this. I encourage you to read it. And then we can hold a meeting if you want to see how we can collaborate over these results or these activities. Then respect the authorship concerns in case of conflict. There will be a record about your ownership, okay? Just because you have published it, you get automatically protected somehow your authorship. You retain the copyright as default, but we recommend you to include CC BY license anyway, okay? And finally, basically, instead of organizing empty meetings, you just refer to the article, to the other projects, and if they are really willing to collaborate with you, they will get in contact with you probably, okay? So, the the question that I received the most, but publishing preprint will prevent me from publishing on a journal. Well, some journals won't accept your articles if they have been uploaded on a preprint repository. Okay. So my recommendation to you is make a short list of journals where you want to submit your articles and check if they have any restriction regarding preprints, okay, before you upload it. Sometimes they put specific restrictions. The most typical is that if you publish it on the preprint on a repository, it must be a public repository, okay, and the preprint should be later be linked to the published article, okay. Of course, if you are willing to patent something, publishing a preprint will prevent you because it would be considered prior art, just if you would publish a journal, okay? An article in a journal.
Cristina,
yes?
just we have 1 minute left. I think that if you can now quickly wrap
Go to
up.
the end.
Yes, that would be great.
Yes. Okay, so basically, okay, basically, what I want to close with, yes, is that I just want to remind you that if you publish your preprint in a preprints repository, you are not accomplished the open access mandate, because the open access mandate refers to the final peer-reviewed version of your article. Using preprints repositories helps to foster collaboration and open your work, but does not mean that you are accomplishing with the open access mandate of Horizon Europe, okay? You can select many preprints repositories. I recommend you to go to different, you can go to different directories of repositories. Here I recommend one. You will be able to check it in the presentation that will be made available, okay? And select the most appropriate repository for you based on the thematic field, okay? In the case of Preserve, I recommend Chem Archive, which you have the link here, okay? And you have here just an example of how you can see what the license related to this preprint is, and if it got a funding from the European Commission, which is something you should do in any case, okay? And that's it.
Thank you very much, Cristina. Thank you very much. I didn't want to interrupt you early because I think that it was so much more valuable to actually continue with your presentation, because it's such a detail from an expert on this, I think is so much more valuable. But of course, we are now on our time limit. I think that we could, based on your presentation, have many more questions, myself included, and I've been working on EU projects for some time now. But if you are okay with that, we can just share our contact details with participants. You can always, I can add here our Preserve contact details, and you can, participants, reach us there for any follow-up questions that you'd have. We are recording this. We will share the presentation on our website and other platforms, probably Zenodo. So you can please look forward to it. We will be in contact with you. And if you have any follow-up questions, really, just take a look at the presentation, take a note now, and just send it to us. Is that okay, Cristina? What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean,
absolutely, right?
You can contact me if I can be of any help. I'm just sorry that well, is a topic that never ends. We could
Yeah.
be here for hours and hours, and still many things to be said. So, but if we can be of any help, just please contact me, and any answer that I can give you to your doubts, so I will be willing to.
Indeed. So I just added in here in the chat the contact of Preserve. If Cristina feels comfortable, can also share her email. But you will reach us here because actually we are the ones, or KNEIA is the one behind the contact of the Preserve project. So surely this is gonna reach us. So thank you very much, everyone. We were very happy to have you here, and good continuation of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Some people are probably still taking the links and the contacts, right? All good. We leave a couple of minutes and then.
Yes. So if you want to copy my email address, I've put it on the chat.
Bye, Kinin. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Fishback. ¡Tachán! ¿Qué tal?
¿Estás grabando?
Sí, es verdad.